Ours is a remarkable age of science. Science, which is a marvel and a mystery. Science belongs to the whole of humankind. And we all have endless expectations from science in all walks of life for all our problems, including hair loss. The hair loss industry is today worth $4 billion annually, and therefore it has attracted a host of businessmen, a host of investors, a host of healthcare industry, including doctors. Because this is one problem where the hair loss community eagerly awaits a groundbreaking medical breakthrough to cure baldness. And there are now a host of players, some ethical, some not too ethical, and on the far extreme, there are certain companies, there are certain individuals who have no compunction in making money out of this industry. We have been seeing for last so many years, companies come and go. Companies come, make announcements, huge announcements, make big PR advertisements about the next big cure in baldness, but soon pack up or go into oblivion, only to rise up again like a phoenix and again start to advertise with a new management, with new ownership, with new funding, with new names or scientists in regenerative medicine on their board. They again start to launch phased trials of their products, which are widely publicized, and then the cycle starts. Timelines get disrupted, clinical trials get inordinately delayed, targets are missed, and this cycle is often repeated. This is at the cost of the hair loss community, which is a very gullible community because they live on hope. And hope is what these companies, most of these companies, give to them, and not a hair loss product. But not all companies are like that. There are a lot of companies which have been seriously, sincerely pursuing through regenerative medicine, through biotechnology, cures for last many years. They have been through ups and downs, but they have not given up. And these are the companies that are listed in my talk. They are not in any particular order, but they are the ones which hold promise. They are the ones who have invested very heavily, financially, scientifically, and in research in the field of regenerative medicine. But the common hair loss sufferers views all these companies, including these companies which I'm going to list in a short while, with a lot of suspicion. He is very critical about any company which promises a new product, because for many years now, companies have preyed on his insecurities, on his fears, on his anxieties, and his vulnerabilities. And therefore he is fearful. He does not believe very easily. But the medical field today is very gung-ho about a few great products that are going to be launched in the next 1 or 2 years. Since 2005, since the time that I have been in this field, I have seen and I have experienced myself, because I myself am a hair loss sufferer. In 2005, when you asked a hair loss doctor, that doctor, when is the cure for baldness going to be discovered? And whoever you asked around the globe, around the world, would say, oh, it's just round the corner. It'll take just 5 more years. Many 5 years have passed and we're nowhere there. With my strong grounding as a surgeon, though now I'm a hair transplant surgeon, and as surgeons, we are very pragmatic people. We are neither financial experts, nor research scientists, nor experts in finance. We are a restless community, like the patients we treat. And we do not believe in too much that is promised unless we see the result. So in this video, we're going to discuss the most versatile, the most reliable, and the most relevant hair loss products that are in the offing, that are presently undergoing phased trials, and those that generate a lot of hope, because a lot of money has been pumped into them, a lot of research has already been done, and they claim that they are on the verge of a breakthrough. So we can refer to them as hair loss cures, baldness cures, hair growth treatments, hair loss treatments, or cures for androgenetic alopecia. So the first of these is Smart Hair Transplant by TissUse. TissUse is a company which has licensed its smart hair transplant technology to J. Hewitt of Japan. Why is Japan chosen as the #1 destination for research in biotechnology and in regenerative medicine, especially stem cell research? Why? Because the Japanese government, due to its new legislation, has allowed for speedy clearances for newer medicines and newer cures to benefit the human community. And in the near future, Japan is slated to be the #1 destination in the world for medical tourism in regenerative medicine and stem cells. And this is the goal that the Japanese government is pursuing by encouraging regenerative medicine companies, by catalyzing the growth of this industry, which is now attracting huge funds from all across the globe. The procedure of smart hair transplant involves the harvesting of 30 follicle units from the permanent zone of the scalp, isolating them, separating certain cells, and putting them through a standardized TissUse culturing protocol. From these mere 30 follicles, around 30,000 new papillae can be obtained. These new papillae are theorized to be able to grow new hair, and they also are said to have the ability to rejuvenate or kickstart the growth of surrounding native thinning hairs. If successful, which is quite likely, SHT or smart hair transplant promises to change the current paradigm of hair restoration. The next is HISTOGEN's HST001 hair stimulating complex. The good news is that it just completed in September 2020 its phase 1B trial. This complex is an injectable serum containing a cell conditioned media derived from neonatal cells and grown under simulated embryonic conditions. It is used to grow. This complex is used to stimulate new hair growth and to rejuvenate your native thinning hair. The advantage of HISTOGEN's HST001 is that it has tried the complex in a large number of patients and it holds a lot of promise. Being heterologous, it is a very convenient treatment. You can just walk into a clinic, get your injections, and you're done. It's a lunchtime hair loss treatment. The next in line is Sammumed's SM04554. This is a molecular topical solution which, when applied to the scalp, activates the WNT and beta-catenin signaling pathway, which promotes new hair growth and betters your existing thinning hair. The good news is that the company is soon, in the next 1 or 2 months, slated to finish its phase 3 trials in Turkey. If these are successful, SM04554 of Sammumed will be available in Turkey and in some parts of the world in the next 1 to 1.5 years. So there's a lot of promise with Sammumed's complex SM04554. Now we go on to BREEZULA by Cassiopea. There's a lot of talk about BREEZULA. BREEZULA is an anti-androgen, claskosterone. Unlike other anti-androgens, this anti-androgen, claskosterone, blocks the effect of DHT on androgen receptors. As we all know from previous videos that I have made, that other anti-androgens merely block the conversion of testosterone to DHT. An additional benefit of BREEZULA or claskosterone is that it prevents the production of PGD2, that is prostaglandin D2, by the skin cells. Prostaglandin D2 is incriminated as another cause of hair loss. Another good news is that this complex does not interfere with the androgen profile of the patient and therefore does not cause the side effects known with the use of anti-androgens. And according to the literature that the company has published on their website, their phase 2 trials showed the efficacy of BREEZULA at 6 months, showed that the results of BREEZULA at 6 months were almost similar, if not better than finasteride at the 6 months timeline in the phase 2 trial. The company has evinced a lot of hope from the hair loss community because its 1% claskosterone anti-androgen topical cream has been approved by the US FDA for use as an anti-androgen in the treatment of acne. Now that's a huge development because in the field of acne treatment, it is for the first time in the last 40 years that a new medication with a different mechanism of action has been introduced and approved by the US FDA. So people are very hopeful. By use of this topical anti-androgen cream for hair loss sufferers is the next big thing in our industry. Well, I have had inquiries from many patients who are planning to use this 1% claskosterone cream on their scalps to see if it works on their scalp. They see a lot of promise in this cream for getting back their lost hair. But let's see what the future has in store for claskosterone cream for hair loss. The company says that you require much higher doses, much higher percentage of claskosterone for a balding scalp than you need to treat acne. Phase 3 clinical trials for use of claskosterone cream in hair loss were to start this year, but because of the pandemic, they have been delayed and they should be starting very soon. So there's a lot of hope that this cream, BREEZULA, will be launched before 2024. And once it is launched, it is going to be a huge breakthrough because it will be the first anti-androgen cream that promises to get US FDA approval for managing hair loss. And then we have the compound called FOL004 by Follica. Now Follica had been promoting its RAIN technology, RAIN, that is regeneration abrasion induced neogenesis. And this involves repeated disruptive micro wounding of the scalp using certain proprietary devices akin to the dermal roller along with its proprietary complex. The trials for rain were not very encouraging. So the company switched to a new compound that it claimed to have discovered called FOL004. Follica's treatment aims to open an embryonic window by disruptive micro-wounding techniques to stimulate hair follicle regeneration through stem cell stimulation. Of late, it is rumored that the company, Follica, has dropped all other compounds except minoxidil from its proprietary compound, and that now it is experimenting only with minoxidil, their proprietary minoxidil preparation, in their proprietary cartridges to be used with a smart dropper. So of late, it is suspected and rumored that there is no other compound that is being involved in the trials other than minoxidil, their own proprietary minoxidil in their proprietary cartridges applied through a smart dropper. So this is a huge climb down from the initial claims of a complex which will cause hair regeneration through stem cell stimulation. Because minoxidil with dermal roller has been in work for a long time now, so there is nothing new that this company is offering, unless, of course, the rumors are false. So let's hope for the best and wish the company all the best. And we do hope that the rumors are laid to rest and we come up with a new compound that benefits hair loss industry. The company promises to release this product very soon. The other promised compound, FOL005 by Follicum, is another product undergoing trials which needs to be taken seriously. FOL005 is the principal proprietary peptide that is being used for hair regeneration. Is a shorter sequence of the human protein osteopontin. In its phase 2 trial, FOL005 was shown to regenerate 7 hair per square centimeter with injection delivery, which is quite promising. FOL005 is also being developed by Follicum as a topical cream to make it user-friendly. The phase 2A trials are expected to be soon announced in the next 2 to 3 months. That is early 2021. Now there is a lot of talk about RCH01. RCH01 by REPLICEL. REPLICEL has partnered with SHISEIDO, which is the 4th largest cosmetic product company in the world. These two companies, SHISEIDO and REPLICEL, have poured in millions of dollars in the research of this complex RCH01. The company has just concluded its very large multi-center trial just last month, that is October 2020. It involves production of cell lines of millions of cells after harvested autologous hair follicles are cultured in a growth medium. These cells are then injected into the scalp. SHISEIDO has opened a large campus or a large complex only to deal with research in RCH01, and this sincerity, this seriousness of research in this field of hair regeneration cannot be taken lightly. This coincides with the new Japanese laws of encouraging stem cell research and encouraging regenerative medicine in their country. However, the downside is that the results of RCH01 in the trials that have taken place till now have been underwhelming. But let's hope for the best. The company might still come out with a huge surprise in the coming year 2021. Rivertown is a new startup resulting from its founder's interest in his own baldness. The protocol RT1640 uses 3 ingredients. One is minoxidil, cyclosporin A, and RT175. So these 3 components of RT1640 act on distinct pathways in androgenetic alopecia, so synergizing hair regrowth and maintenance of hair shaft diameter. According to a company release by Rivertown Therapeutics, one drug promotes the growth and migration of new stem cells, one drug promotes the commitment of the follicular stem cells to become new hair, and one protects the dermal papilla from the effects of DHT. An additional stated benefit of the use of RT1640 by Rivertown Technologies is that it boosts the melanocytic progenitor cells or precursor cells, which in turn restores the hair pigment to grey hair which have been regenerated. And then we come to Dr. Tsuji, a well-known figure. Dr. Tsuji's stem cell treatment. Research in this treatment protocol of Dr. Tsuji is underway at the famous Riken Laboratories in Kobe, Japan, which is the world's most promising and advanced stem cell research lab, often referred to as the Holy Grail in stem cell research. Dr. Takashi Tsuji is a star hair loss researcher, very well known in the field of hair loss research using regenerative medicine. The treatment involves extracting a small number of hair follicles from a person's donor scalp and then isolating two specific types of cells from the follicle, that is papilla cells and epidermal cells. And these cells are extracted from the bulb region of the follicle. These cells are then cultured, expanded and combined to create a hair follicle germ or hair follicle primordium. Once these hair follicle germs are ready, they are transported to the facility, to the clinic, where they are ready to be injected into a person's scalp to grow hair. The clinical trials have started in 2020 this year, and Japan hopes that by 2022 will be a landmark year in the history of Japan as a medical tourism destination for regenerative medicine once Dr. Tsuji's laboratory comes out with their innovative stem cell treatment. Japan has been heavily investing in regenerative medicine, and the star performer, as they see, is Dr. Tsuji's Riken Laboratories in Kobe, Japan. Now coming to STEMSON Therapeutics based in United States and is a hair cloning research company with tremendous potential. STEMSON Therapeutics stands as the front runner in the field of hair cloning research for the United States of America. So that is the importance of STEMSON Therapeutics in the field of regenerative medicine. And liberal funding by the pharmaceutical powerhouse Allergan means that the company means business. The USP of this hair loss treatment is that from a few drops of blood, they promise to create an unlimited supply of hair producing folliculogenic cells. The company is also developing allogenic lines of hair producing cells so that an individual does not have to donate any cells, and they are extracted from a donor, processed into millions of folliculogenic cells and injected into the scalp. So this holds a lot of promise, and let's see what the future has in store for us and for STEMSON Technologies. And then we have a similar sounding company called STEMORE based in Korea. It has multiple cell therapies in the pipeline and is specialized in maintaining the hair growth potential of dermal papilla cells even after they have been cultured on several occasions. The company is presently preparing for clinical trials for its dermal papilla cell injections and adipose-derived cell injections. And last but not the least, we have RAPUNZEL, an exotic sounding name very apt to the hair loss field. Dr. Colin Jehoda and Dr. Angelo Cristiano, the leading names in hair sciences research, have teamed up to develop a hair regeneration treatment using cultured hair follicle cells. While Dr. Jehoda is known as an expert in 3D dermal papilla culturing, Dr. Cristiano has been in the news for tremendous work in the field of JAK inhibitors in the treatment of alopecia areata. So we have two world-famous scientists developing the new treatment called RAPUNZEL. Dr. Jehoda is well-versed in hair regeneration since way back in 1999, grew his own hair on his wife's arm. And Dr. Cristiano has this to say about their research. We can grow rat hair like it's no tomorrow. That we think that we can do it with human hair too. The company is presently busy with its preclinical trials and seeking funding, strategic alignments, and partnerships. They say that the science of today is the technology of tomorrow. So if any of these companies that we've listed, that we've discussed just now, comes out with a cure, with a groundbreaking cure, it will usher in good times for the hair loss community, myself included. Only catch is that for a good period of time, for a good many of years, these treatments, these regenerative treatments may be out of reach for a vast majority of people because they will be extremely costly. For example, Dr. Tsuji's treatment is slated to cost $350,000 for the first few years for a person who comes for 2 sessions for extensive baldness. For patients who have up to grade 3 and grade 4 alopecia, the cost will be no less than $150,000 for one sitting. So for a vast majority of us hair loss sufferers, hair loss cure will not be reachable in the foreseeable future. But then hair loss cures have always been 5 years away. Thank you for watching, and if you liked my video, please let me know. And do drop a comment if you have any questions, any queries, and I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you and God bless.